Good morning, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. Today is the 24th of December. It is Christmas Eve for those of you who celebrate Christmas. Um, and we have an important aspect happening today, so I wanted to kind of share that with you. So let me pull it up and we'll talk about it. Okay, so the 24th. So let's just look at some of the astrological stuff here. We have the sun, of course, in the sign of Capricorn, as it always is this time of year. The moon today is in Libra, but will move into Scorpio. Let's see, will it move into Scorpio? Oh, no, it might not move into Scorpio today. That I'm not sure of. All right, well, we'll just leave it. Either whichever way, whether it be in Libra or Scorpio, and I'm feeling it's well, it'll move into Scorpio probably late. It'll definitely be in Scorpio on Christmas. But both Libra and Scorpio are signs associated with our relationships. In Libra, it's the idea of relationship. It's the sort of balanced sense of I and thou and how we balance each other. But it's in Scorpio when, as I see it, the rubber meets the road, because that's when we start to share things that's more of a life and death stake, which can be our physical bodies and our money that can really, determine stuff. So this Christmas holiday, this Hanukkah holiday, I apologize again for not knowing. I know all three of the Abrahamic religions, their holiday is all falling on the same day. So I apologize that I don't know the Islamic holiday. I'm assuming there's an Islamic holiday. Um, but it is a significant period of time. Of course, we have the nodes of the moon getting closer and closer to the world axis, and the sun is square that. And so this is a and this solstice that just happened a few days ago was a very potent solstice. But what I'm showing you here today is the fact that Saturn and Jupiter are making a square to each other. This is a first quarter crisis in action square, and it actually this synodic cycle, or the cycle between conjunction to conjunction of these two planets, lasts about 20 years. It's considered a generational cycle. It's also considered a monetary cycle. And we did have this conjunction happen at the end of 2020. It was, in fact, on winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, southern solstice in the uh, in the uh, in the southern hemisphere, and winter in the northern hemisphere. I'm not sure what I said. Um, Always a powerful day. It is one of the um, um, It's part of the cardinal cross, which is the cross that we are all crucified upon when we come into incarnation. It is karmic, it's a soul cross, it's also a time of initiation, right? So that's the cardinal signs. So we have these two planets, Saturn and Jupiter. And when you look at two planets and the relationship that they're into one another, you always take the slower moving planet as the primary focus planet, and then the other planet is where is that in in relation to that focus planet, what's the angle? And we have a 90-degree angle. 90-degree angles are crisis in um, action. We feel the need to take an action, and it is action to support the idea or the ideals of that initial conjunction, which occurred at the first degree of Aquarius, an old Adobe mission in California, lasting values. It's about building something on lasting values, and the lasting values of Aquarius is humanitarianism, right? And so we are at a crisis now where we must act in order to build the foundations that will support that. This is actually the second of three. The first one occurred on 8/19 of 2024. That was August 19th, if that sounds familiar to you. That was the first day of the DNC, and we also had a full moon on that day in Aquarius, and that full moon in Aquarius was on the moon of the United States. It was also squared by Uranus. Remember, Uranus was squaring the sun and the moon in that with Caput Algol off with your head. Caput Algol is still active. It sits around 27 degrees of Taurus, and Uranus, as you can see, while it has backed off, where is Uranus here? Uranus, how can you miss Uranus? Is at 23. So it's not that far backed off um, from it. But that was the first square, right? The first square. And there was certainly action taken to try to build um, something that will help sustain that sort of humanitarian energy. And that definitely was seen I think, in the uh, Harris Walz campaign. I'm not saying that, well, they didn't have a whole lot of time, so I think they did as best as they could. It may not have been top of mind for everybody, but certainly astrologically, it sort of lined up pretty well. Now we have this one today, at 14 or 15 degrees of Pisces for Saturn, and 15 degrees of um, Gemini for um, for Jupiter. The last one of these, there's three of them, um, and it takes about a year. If there's three, it takes about a year for them to like work their way out. The last one is going to happen on the 15th of June, at 2 degrees of Aries, Cancer, where the nodes are right now. So this situation may not right itself until then, um, until June. But there's a lot going to be happening between now and then. We're not really sure what it's going to look like, but we know that there's all kinds of stuff coming down. And we're going to have to fight for it. We're going to have to fight for our rights to live in a more sort of Aquarian egalitarian way. Now, let's talk about today's square. It is a crisis in action square. We have Jupiter at 15 degrees of Gemini, and it says two children talking, validation. Receiving messages are not free from the bias of subjective interpretation, so we should get confirmation if we can, confirmation and validation. And so this speaks to me that if we are to move forward, we have to have the facts. We have to know the facts. And many of us are thinking that there are some facts out there that we're yet not aware of, at least in the actual facty way, but certainly aware of in the intuitive way. Squaring Saturn at 15 of Pisces, it says an officer preparing to drill his men. And I got this from James Burgess' website, where he describes 15 degrees of Pisces. Says before being able to close any cycle in life fully, there must be an evaluation of what has occurred, a balancing of accounts, and the facing of karma. When it is externalized into life events, we must expect to encounter some significant danger, a danger that has so far been perpetually and forever avoided. By anticipating this, we can make careful arrangements, planning and equipping ourselves as best we can for the certainty of immense challenge. What did I say, right? It is better to take instruction and focus very clearly before encountering our nemesis. So, this is really about getting the facts down here. And we may not fully have the facts until the last square. So something to consider, but definitely something is going on. And I do want to point out that eventually, later in the month, and later in the week, actually, I believe, we have Mercury making an opposition. Or did it just, yeah, Mercury making the opposition to Saturn. I mean, I'm sorry, Jupiter. It's early. I haven't had any coffee yet. To Jupiter, This will be this opposition when it comes around and gets to the exact opposition to Jupiter will be the third of three. We also have Saturn squaring Mercury. That is it's a crisis in belief, a crisis in consciousness square, and a reality check. And that's gonna, and this will still stay in orb. So we're gonna have this giant T square, mutable T square. And mutability is about changeability. And we're in this sort of initiating cycle. 2025 is going to be a very sort of up and down and tumultuous year because there's a lot of change going on. I was out on Susan Lynn's channel on Saturday, and we were talking about that. That the only planet not changing signs in 2025 is Pluto, which is the planet of change. So everything else is switching. Uranus is moving into Gemini for a temporary period. Saturn is moving into Aries for a temporary period. Neptune is moving into Aries for a temporary period. Venus is going retrograde between Pisces and goes retrograde in Aries, moves back into Pisces. We're at that Pisces Aries uh, boundary. We have Mars right now retrograde in Leo, going to be moving into Cancer, more fire and water. With all this fire and water in the chart, it's significant of a spiritual evolution. And so let's evolve, guys. Let's evolve. Let's start building. Let's start visualizing. Let's focus on what it is we want to bring um, into this world. What do you want to create? What kind of world do you want to see? Take the steps to get there. Take the steps to get there. Get together with people of like mind. Many hands make what is that expression? Many hands make quick work or something like that. We were not in this alone. Make your contacts, get together. Things are, after the election, it was a huge shock, and many of us felt like we were flattened like a pancake. And it took a while for us to peel ourselves up from that. But more and more people, we didn't think we could do it, but more and more people are getting unpeeled off the floor. And now we're even thinner than we were before. So so we'll be able to slip and slide into places maybe that we couldn't have when we had our belief systems holding us back. So there's nothing beyond our abilities. There's nothing beyond our capabilities. There is nothing beyond our imagination. And so it's time to get it all set. Have yourself a great Christmas Eve if that is what you're doing. Tonight, we have, we sometimes have the Feast of the Seven Fishes, but it's just me and Michael, and that's a lot of fish. So Michael's going to make some linguine and clam sauce, and we're going to have, I think, some scallops and maybe some shrimp. And then tomorrow we're having lobster. I shouldn't tell you this, right? Because this is like I'm bragging, but I'm not really. This is like honestly one of the few things besides, like paying your mortgage and stuff, gas and all of that we kind of spend a little more money on, and it helps that he's a chef, So we're gonna have lobster and lamb. So we're having surf and turf for Christmas. In the comments, tell me how you're going to spend your Christmas, maybe what the menu is. Know that we are here for you, myself and the other readers. We're going to do this. We're going to, we're not always right, but we're honest. We have good hearts, and that goes a long way. Because if it's true there are no mistakes, then this is exactly where we need to be. I love you guys. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow for Christmas morning. Maybe that'll be in front of the tree because it's still pretty damn cold out there. And unless we get a lot more snow, it's just, it's not the prettiest. So anyway, take care, everyone. And I love you. And I will see you again tomorrow. Take care. Namaste.